This week's top Disney news story is all about the NBA and Walt Disney World. There are also mentions about Disney Springs and Hong Kong Disneyland. Stay tuned, and I'll break it all down. Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now it's that time of the week once more, so on to this week's biggest Disney news stories. This week is actually relatively sparse for Disney news, but there was certainly one giant story for Disney. And that one's our top story: NBA and Disney. On Thursday, the NBA's Board of Governors approved a plan to go ahead and resume their season over at Walt Disney World. Now it's on to Disney to go ahead and finalize any plans right there and make it official. Commissioner Adam Silver of the NBA went ahead and said, "While the COVID-19 pandemic presents formidable challenges, we are hopeful of finishing the season in a safe and responsible manner, based on strict protocols now being finalized with public health officials and medical experts." The NBA originally suspended its season way back on March 11th, almost 3 months ago at this point. There's been talk off and on about the possibility of using Walt Disney World for at least a couple months. But this week is where we finally learned that it was coming to pass. Now, they're apparently still working on some of their different testing protocols and safety practices, etc., to make sure of how everything will work. So we don't know what's going to happen, say, if one person ends up testing positive for COVID. Don't know how that'll work for a team, or say if 2 or 3 do. All those details will probably start to come out later as things get finalized, but we've got a ways to go at this point until that hits. So how will this new season work? Well, 22 of the 30 teams in the NBA will begin playing games on July 31st. Now what that means is the top 8 teams from both the Western and the Eastern conferences who are currently in playoff positions are going down there, as well as the next highest 6 teams, which actually means 5 more for the Western Conference and 1 more for the Eastern Conference. And then the season will restart with 8 more seeding games for each team, giving a chance for some final shifting around in those positions. Although really it only matters to the bottom number 8 seed, and in one case the number 7 seed, and those teams that are behind that. Now if at the end of those 8 seeding games, number 8 and number 9 seeds are actually within 4 or less games of one another, then we're going to go get this cool little play-in to find out who actually gets to be the number 8. And what would happen then is either the number 8 team just needs to beat the number 9 team once, or the number 9 team would have to go ahead and beat the 8 team 2 times back-to-back in order to take over that number 8 seed. So there you go. And then the playoffs will just enter a traditional conference-based format, exactly what you'd expect. And they expect the finals would be over by October 12th. And then they hope to do an NBA draft on the 15th of October and have their next regular season start on December 1st. Okay, so why Walt Disney World? Well, Walt Disney World had been talked about for a couple months by people both on the outside and some rumors from the inside. And that's because Walt Disney World has a giant 220-acre ESPN Wide World of Sports complex down there. And that complex happens to hold more than a dozen basketball courts as well as all kinds of other sports arenas as well. On top of all that, it's isolated pretty far off from other things, so it's easy enough to make sure you keep a bubble and make sure that other people won't be coming in there and breaking containment. And Walt Disney World has a ton of resorts, so again, you can make that full bubble. In this case, what the plan is to use the Coronado Springs Resort. Now, the Coronado Springs Resort is less than 4 miles from ESPN's Wide World of Sports complex, and it has more than 1,900 rooms in it, which is more than enough for everyone who will need to be there for the NBA to continue its season. The estimates are that there will be 1,000 plus players, coaches, team officials, families, service staff, etc. in order to go keep that up. Now, anybody going down there will be stuck in that bubble, families included. They don't get to go out over to Magic Kingdom and go enjoy Space Mountain or Splash Mountain and then come on back. The problem is with the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, it's just too dangerous to go ahead and break that containment. That's the entire reason for sending the teams down there in the first place. Now for the players, they're first going to go ahead and have their training camps at their own home facilities. Then they're expected to head down to the Orlando area in early July, where they'll get used to the area prior to the regular season recontinuing back at the end of July. Once the games do start, it's expected there will be several games daily in 3 of the different arenas. And now those games will most certainly be closed to the public. We'll get to watch them on TV, certainly, but you don't get to actually attend them in person. And while the players aren't there during the hours and hours and hours that they're not playing or practicing, well, they're at that Coronado Springs resort. Beyond that, not entirely clear what's going on for them, if they'll be able to, say, use some golf courses on occasion, or what else might be available for them. But that said, the Coronado Springs resort has a lot to it. I mean, there's 100,000 square feet of convention center space in it. And heck, it's got that giant 22-acre Lago Dorado. It's got a giant 90 by 120-foot pool. It's got a big old hot tub, 24-hour gym, spa services, 10 different dining locations. I mean, there's a lot to go on right there to keep you busy. Now, while I say this is still waiting on Disney's approval and final confirmation of some of the details, one can't imagine Disney's going to say no. I mean, they kind of want this. So this is definitely pretty impressive, and the first continuation of really a major sporting event to be seen. So we'll have to stay tuned and watch how this works. It might be a blueprint for what to expect for other sporting teams too. And who knows? That ESPN Wide World of Sports complex is large enough to go ahead and work for more than just the NBA. Could see some more people down there. Or maybe over in Las Vegas. We do know the NBA's number 2 spot seems to have been Las Vegas for a possibility of where to go. So any of you big NBA fans, well, looks like you're in luck. Sports will be coming back soon, at least for the NBA anyway. Well, let's move right along. Today's a quick day. And hey, in the vein of quick day, it's time for everyone's favorite section, the lightning round. A few quick headlines of bigger stories. The Walt Disney Company has pledged to donate $5 million to support nonprofit organizations that advance social justice. And that will be starting with $2 million to the NAACP. We've seen progress in construction recently over at Hong Kong Disneyland, as we've seen some of the tracks being worked on for the construction of the Wanderin' Oaken Sliding Sleighs attraction. Disney conducted its virtual roadshow to attract advertisers to its networks. Now, they really need it because advertising revenue has taken big hits due to the pandemic, and Disney is expected to lose $1.4 billion in ad revenue this year. Many Walt Disney World furloughed cast members have received notice of when to return to work. Some are starting as soon as this coming week and some later in this month. More locations continue to open over at Disney Springs as multiple bars are now open as the state of Florida has gone into its second phase of reopenings. So this includes places like the Front Porch Bar at the House of Blues and the Boathouse, amongst others. So there you have it. That's the news for this week. Did I miss any big Disney news stories? What do you think about the NBA continue its season down at Walt Disney World? Are you ready to root for your favorite team, or are they still in? Let me know down below in the comments. And thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back again tomorrow with another new video for Freeform Disney. Have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always.